Let's welcome to the stage Brian Fallon of the Gaslight Anthem.
Good to see you, pal. Want to take a mic there? All right. This is mine? Yeah. Okay.
It's good to see you.
You too.
Did you come out of the kitchen there?
I came out of the kitchen.
Back there making yourself a grilled cheese?
Just cooking something.
Very nice.
Always cooking.
So,
Anybody want a Red Bull?
so you've been back living in New Jersey for almost a year. Is it good to be back?
Yeah. Yeah, I was forced relocation, though. I didn't intentionally find myself living in New York. I went on tour, and I came back with an apartment that I didn't pick. And it was in Brooklyn. I had to learn the zip code and everything.
So now you're back here. Did you find the right pizza place in your neighborhood and everything?
No, I go to Brothers Pizza. I've been
Very
going there
nice.
since I was little.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I'm sure the folks over at Brothers would be very happy with that.
They don't treat me that good.
No?
They don't treat anybody that good.
That's a shame, man.
Good thin crust.
That's
Service is lackluster at best. They should have been nicer, because now it's public. What are you gonna do?
Well, you did mention their pizza, so they got to be, pretty happy about that.
I kind of did.
Guys like that, I don't think they care that much,
I like that stuff.
I got
with
good
the
pizza.
olives in it too, and the ham that they cut up and they put. It's like a salad, but antipasto.
Oh, okay.
When my uncle orders, I don't order. He always orders, so I don't know what it is. So I get it and I eat it. It's nice.
So
It's usually a Spanish girl that waits on us. She's patient. I'll give her that. The hostess could be nicer.
So this is a place that you're going in and sitting down all the time, not just a slice from the counter?
No, I don't get a slice from the counter. I want to soak in the atmosphere and the local drunks. Soak it all in. The sports games, they're not very good on there either.
No.
No. Anyway, I like the Yankees. You like the Yankees? Yeah. I just went to spring training, and Derek Jeter, he looks okay. Maybe a year left. That's about it. But Mariano Rivera snaps that ball like a champ. Yeah. Alex Rodriguez is a bum. Golden Glove winner Curtis Granderson. It's my man. I'm sorry, I hijacked your interview.
This couldn't be going any better as far as I'm concerned. I got boring questions. This stuff was
Going
great.
great in my mind.
This stuff's great.
Yeah. Maybe tomorrow I'm not going to think it was so good, though. When I see the videotape, can we play back the first 15 seconds? I just noticed that.
That's nice. Some of your words up there.
Is that mine? I never recognize my words. People send them to me all the time. People feel the need to send me my own words, and I appreciate it because it means something to them, but at the same time, it's creepy.
Right.
That's it.
People send me my words sometimes, but only because they're wrong.
What did you say?
Well, just, if I get something wrong, I'm a writer, so they always tell me, hey, this is wrong. This whole rest of the thing, this is okay, but this one thing is wrong, and I take real issue with it.
Punctuationally or
Just usually something like you wrote something about my neighbor, and I don't really like it, something like that. Just basic New Jersey stuff,
My neighbors find my address and send me letters, and they think that's cool.
Like people right on your street?
No, but like people from the town. Like one guy sent me a letter, and he said, I work for the town, so I got your address. So I have 2 big dogs now. Big pit bulls. For real. Like for real. And they're real nice dogs, but they'll mess you up if you come to my house.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, well, let's talk a minute about New Jersey, because I think we get this reputation around the world for being kind of an awful place. I think people, they land in Newark Airport, they come out of the city, and they get on the turnpike there, and they see that Linden cogeneration plant, and they see the smokestacks over here, and then somebody cuts them off from 3 lanes over, and they take this like mental snapshot, and they're like, that was New Jersey. I've seen it. And that's the thing that they carry with them, and they tell their friends all about it. But I think we're also developing a rep for being some hard workers. You've done a little hard work, right?
Yeah, there's a picture of me on the internet fixing my door. I'm serious. It was from last week. I didn't find that funny either. I had the screen door, and it's one of the old. I live in an older house. I got a friend who lives in Bradley Beach, and I wanted. He's kind of my role model for houses. So I listened to what he said, and I bought a house that looks just like his house, and except for my screen door, it doesn't work. So I had to. It's heavy, and it ripped out. The 4 screws came out, and I found out that whoever drilled it in, it was crooked, and they went like this in. It was really interesting, and so I was fixing my screen door, and there's a picture of me on the internet fixing my door. So I don't know if I got a drive-by or I don't know how. I didn't take that picture
You're doing
myself.
work, though, man.
But yeah,
it's good street cred.
It's street cred, but it's also creep cred, because somebody's a weirdo. And there's baby pictures of me on the internet. I was a baby, man. Leave me alone. I'm just like you. I don't want to be bothered at the 7-Eleven either. From New Jersey. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about this work ethic, because I think, it's a real point of pride that we can fix our own doors in New Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, that's how I think a lot of us, at least the people I know, were raised, and no one's going to give you anything. So you gotta go get it. And there's probably a lot more, people that are with their opportunities that have had a lot more chances, I think, than anybody I know. And they went to the right schools, and they had the right last name or whatever, and they expect things to come to them. I mean, this is people that I know, and they've had like a certain sense of I expect this to go because I've got the right credentials. And my friends and I kind of never had the right credentials. So it was just, you had to do it. You had to just do it yourself. And hopefully somebody would notice, and if you made enough noise, they would. And I think that while you're waiting to get noticed, you have to do other things. And you get good with your hands. And my hands are still chapped up, because I still know how to work, and no matter what I do and no matter where we go, I mean, I think that stays with you. And I think that that's a good thing to keep with you. And it helps you stay grounded and not ordering green M&Ms and freaking out and like Van Halen. I like Van Halen, but there's everybody knows the green M&M story. Panama's cool. I never been to Panama, but I like the song.
So, I mean, you're a guy who has done some work, and then we're talking about you've done some work.
Yeah, I worked on the Dave Franklin Construction Organization for a little while.
You know what? I just want to skip the rest of these questions and just hear about that.
No, I'll tell you the truth is that no, seriously, the thing was, when we started out, we didn't make any money, and it was tough. And when we came home from a tour, that was it. That was your money. It was gone because you're paying your gas. You're working ahead of time, and then you would save up that money and go on tour with it, and pay for your gas and pay for your tolls on tour, and then pay for your food and your hotels or whatever you're staying with your friends. And then you come home, and you'd have to call, maybe 2 weeks before you got home from tour. You'd always find me on the phone with my friend Maddie, and I'd be like, Maddie, you got any work? You need anything done? I'll shine your shoes or whatever. And those guys, though, my friends, they kept me employed. They kept me able to feed myself and able to continue on in my band. They always found, and I know for a fact that they didn't need me. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't really do anything. But they would always find something for me to do, and they would always keep me working, and it not only does it keep you having food on the table and being able to pay your bills, but it also keeps a sense of pride where you don't have, your family or your wife telling you like what are you doing with your life? You're 26, 7, 8, 9 years old, and you don't. I know that's funny, but when you're trying to be a musician, it's funny because your dad gets real serious when you're 29 years old and you want to be a musician because college is different. I mean, it's not an acceptable thing. I mean, it seems like a young guy, but if my kid was 29 and he was like, guess what, I'm gonna be a musician, Dad, and the only place he's playing is his room, I'm gonna thump him, and that's for real. And you don't have your family looking down on you like, what a bum, he's not doing anything, or getting worried about you, like, what's he gonna do with his life? And so these people really help me out, and I think that comes from that kind of thing too, because everybody has that work ethic where they know, look, this is all we've got, and you got to help out your buds, and you got to try and keep them afloat too.
Right. Well, I mean, you've obviously taken that with you, and that ability to overcome those hurdles. You came out with 3 Gaslight album records in 4 years. You did a complete tour cycle with each one. You did the revival tour, and then you found time to release this record with the Horrible Crows. So, like, when do you sleep?
At night. No, I mean, I sleep. I sleep, but I gotta work. I gotta do this because I don't know if it's gonna be here forever. I don't know if 5 years or 2 years from now that any of you guys are gonna come and see me yap for 45 minutes or whatever. I mean, like, you'll be here because you got a job. You got a good job. You're a writer. But with me, it's popular opinion. My whole livelihood is based on popular opinion. And when I was in high school, that wasn't so it was very temperamental, very temperamental. And I think that you've got to keep that, because the minute that you get that sense of kind of I'm here and it's okay, that's when you end up putting out the bad albums. You
get too comfortable.
Yeah, you put out the no good records. There's a lot of those. A lot of guys who kind of said, well, I could do it on my own. I don't need anybody. And then you kind of go, it doesn't work,
I don't think anybody has ever called a writer a good job decision before, so thank you. I really appreciate that.
Well, I mean, I think doing whatever you want to do and making that happen. And, I got a friend who wants to be a writer right now, and he wants to write books. And he always says, I can't wait to be a writer, but, right now I got to work for the UPS, or I got to work for whatever. And the thing is you are a writer. You just gotta you're UPSing on the side. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing to pay your bills. But you're a writer. Like, just do it. And I think that's the thing that keeps you going, is that if I'm gonna do this, and everyone will tell you no and that you can't do it and you're no good at it. But you have to be honest with yourself. I mean, if you're lousy at it, don't do it. I don't want to read it. But if you're good at it, then do it.
Absolutely.
And
I know. When this thing's over, I actually got to get behind the bar and pull some points for a little while.
You got to, yeah? Me too. I hear
the only way I got
bartenders
this
make
gig.
good money.
So
I haven't been on tour in a while.
Tell me about this decision to record in Nashville.
Well, Nashville came up because, we thought being from New Jersey, we thought it'd be kind of cool. We were like, Nashville, country music, okay. That's got to be cool. There's got to be some mojo going on down there. And we don't know anybody, so nobody will bother us. Nice. So, because we made the last record in New York, and everybody bothered us. All our friends were coming by, and it's just, people think, musicians, they come to your work all the time, and they want to, I don't sit on anybody's desk on Monday morning. Like, why are you bothering me, man? Like, it's weird, and I'm trying to concentrate here. I know it looks like, tomfoolery, but it's not, and that's why we picked Nashville, because we were like, it's far enough to where if somebody's house is on fire, we can catch a quick plane back home. But if, 14 hours is a long way to drive. You got to really be dedicated. So nobody showed up, which is good. So that's Nashville. That's why we picked Nashville.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you get your hands dirty in a little bit of the history down there?
Well, I looked at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I thought about going, or the Country Music Hall of Fame. I thought about going there a lot, but I didn't go. We were busy, so it was a good time. And there was, apparently Rick Springfield played one of the nights. But I said, what's he going to do? He's going to play Jesse's Girl, and then I'm going to leave. That's it. So no.
Okay.
I didn't really do anything.
All right.
Just kind of made a record. That was it.
All right. What I'd like to do now is play a short little clip from the record, The 59 Sound, Film Noir. We're just going to listen to this real quick. It's the middle of the song. All right. You got the idea.
Yeah.
You get the idea because you wrote it.
It's been a minute since I've heard that.
I play that because Go back to 2007, Asbury Lanes. I had just written a review of your first record, Sink or Swim, and we went out to the car to get the magazine I was going to show you. And at the time, you were really more excited about writing the next record already. And you were so excited, and you told me, we're going to bring together Sam Cooke and Hot Water Music. And I was like, I was like, how? That's insane. What is that? I don't even know what that means. And I think you really did. Do you feel like you've achieved that sound? It's something that you went for?
I do. I think that on that record in particular, we achieved exactly what we were going for. I'm not sure that we knew what we were going for when we did it, but we were going for something, and we definitely got it. And I think everyone was equally surprised and not surprised because we knew we had something when we were doing it. And I think that we were chasing something for a really long time. And that was kind of the coming together point of everything. And that's kind of the point where I based all future work off of. Like whether is it as good as that, or is it, and sometimes the answer was no, and sometimes the answer was yes. So that's kind of that was the big moment, and probably right around the time that you're talking about was, there was like a little buzz going on between the four of us, and we knew we were on to something, but we didn't know if anybody would receive it, or what would they think, or was it too weird for 2008 at the time, But it worked.
Excellent. Well, I feel like, the Gaslight Anthem is always mentioned in the context of your influences. So if we do a quick little exercise here, I'd like to throw out a few artists, and maybe you tell me what inspiration that you've drawn from each one of them. Can we do that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's start with an easy one. Start with The Clash.
That's like a big stylistic thing, I think, with us. And that was, The Clash was a fundamental band for us as far as, a lot of people that come from like a punk rock scene or anything like that, you're always told that you can't succeed. You're not allowed to. It's wrong to be, it's wrong to win. You can't win. You're supposed to be the beautiful losers. Like the Replacements or one of those bands, who kind of messed it up, but kind of didn't, and but The Clash said, no, like we're going to go play on top of Radio City Music Hall. We're The Clash. What are you talking about? We're going to be the biggest band in the world. We're going to be the Who. But that was Joe Strummer. I dare you to find something wrong with Joe Strummer's ethics. And that was my man, He still is. That's my guy.
All right.
Ethically. I don't
All right.
listen to reggae music, though, so that part of the thing, leave that.
How about Greg Dooley, the Afghan Whigs?
A guy that I like a lot, but don't necessarily want to be like. You don't want to emulate Greg Dooley. He's gotten himself into a few troubles. No, I mean, Greg Dooley was he was a poet, but he wasn't afraid to say the things that regular people thought, but then you're not supposed to say. And I think that having that at such an early age, the Afghan Whigs, and when I was maybe 12 or 13, kind of shaped a lot of the thoughts that I had about what you can do as a band and what you can say. And that definitely brought me into the soul music side of it because, I mean, I know everybody says that they had Sam Cooke records when they were 10, but that's not true. So I would listen to the Afghan Whigs, and they would cover these songs, and they would cover Come See About Me, or they would, and I would find out about Diana Ross and the Supremes, and from their little records that they had, like mostly EPs and 7-inches that they did, and live footage, whatever I could find. And so that was a big part of me finding soul music. So I would say that he, Greg Dooley, and then mixed with the Joe Strummer and everything else, that's what kind of led me to where I eventually would go,
How about Morrissey?
Not so much with me. No. I mean,
How about the rest of the band?
Yeah, the rest of Alex in particular loves the Smiths, Alex Rosamilia. But I listened to the Smiths, but there was too much tape, on the body and too much. That was, shirts off and roses in the teeth. It kind of wasn't my thing. I mean, I guess he's got nice hair and he's got a cool voice. I guess he gets the chicks, but he doesn't care, does he? I don't know. He says he doesn't like boys or girls. I don't know what do you like? TV? I mean,
Maybe we should
Red
go back
Bull.
to talking about your prior work experience.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, Morrissey's cool. I don't want to diss the guy. I mean, I like him.
Right.
You know, as far as like, if I shook hands with him, that'd be cool. I
All
mean,
right.
you know, I would talk to him. I would be like, you need to get over it and get the Smiths back together, though. That's what. Seriously, Johnny Marr. Did you hear what he said recently?
I haven't.
He goes, "We'll get the Smiths back together when the English government
Oh, I did hear that,
surrenders
yeah.
control." I'm like, you're a crazy person, and you're, and you dress like a kid, man. You're not young, no more.
How about Pearl Jam?
I love Pearl Jam. That's my favorite band. That's my guys. And I think that those guys, I don't know, man. That was my music. I didn't find that because of my mom or because of my friends. I found that because that was my generation's music. That was our thing. Like, that was different than everything else. Nirvana and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. Those were the bands that you know, being a punk rock kid, you weren't allowed to like. And I was like, what are you talking about? I like Pearl Jam. Like, that's a good band. And they have long hair and they wear flannel shirts. And I wear flannel. And all of a sudden, I was cool. My grandmother had been dressing me in flannel since I was 6. And everybody was making fun of me. And then all of a sudden, I was so cool. I was like, thanks, Eddie Vedder. That's cool. And I don't know, man. He was different. You know, everybody was singing with this high voice. And he comes in with this low Jim Morrison thing. And they changed, you know, all throughout the years. They always kept you guessing. What's their next record gonna sound like? What are they gonna do? Am I gonna hate it? You know, I got a ukulele now? I don't know. But I don't know. Can you hang? Like, that's what I think that their whole deal is like. Can you hang with us? We're not gonna give you the same stagnant thing over and over. We're not gonna play Jeremy for 10 years. You know, like we're not gonna give you that record over and over again because you already have that record. And I like that as an artist. I mean, I probably would hate that as a fan, but I don't. I buy their records and I love them, and I stuck with them even through the weird periods.
That's good of you. How about Jawbreaker?
Yeah, they really, Pearl Jam really appreciates me staying with them. Jawbreaker is good. But Jawbreaker, you know, there's a couple bands where people think, and everybody, you know, the internet's probably gonna go bananas. But Jawbreaker and the Replacements, like, they're all right. They're okay. You know what I mean? I mean, whoa, okay, all right. That's cool. But guess what? They didn't sell that many records because people didn't like them that much. They got a couple good songs. It's true. And that's what I think. You know what I mean? You came here to hear what I think. I'll listen to you later. But that's what I think. So
I think the Punk News server just exploded when you said
I don't care. Yo, Punk News, the Replacements aren't that good. They got a song called Tommy Hates Music because it's got too many notes. That's cool. I mean, no, they got the thing about those bands though is like Jawbreaker and the Replacements is when they were on, the reason that people think that they're so great and that they've survived and the reason that I have 10 of their songs on my iPod is because when they were great, they were better than anyone. But 90% of the time they were awful. And that's the thing. And without songs like Tommy Hates Music, a song like Unsatisfied wouldn't be as good. You know what I mean? Because there was, and that I didn't think of myself. I read that in Rolling Stone magazine. I did one time. And those kind of bands, like, I just never, I mean, I bought it, you know, and I liked it when I was a kid. But then as I got older, I kind of was like, especially now, I get kind of a little sour on those things, you know, because I'm just like, no.
Okay.
You know?
How about if we shift over to like a Mark Knopfler?
Well, Dire Straits is, I mean, see, that's what I'm talking about, though. Dire Straits is like, that's a killer guy, like killer musician. He knows his background. He knows, I'm not saying that any of these other guys don't, but I think there's some depth to like a Dire Straits kind of band where, I don't know, man. I sat there for probably 3 months trying to learn Sultans of Swing on the guitar. And that's all I would play for 3 months. But even still, you know, and that kind of stuff inspires me. It's like there's a song called On Every Street. And I think that's one of the finest written songs in the world. And he's talking about somebody that he misses and he hasn't seen in a couple of years and he lost track of. And but he's looking for her on want ads. and that's pretty profound.
All right, since we're right in the area, how about the Bouncing Souls?
Dude, I think one of the best bands ever. Period. That's what I'm talking about. Like, don't talk to me about the Replacements. Talk to me about the Bouncing Souls, Like, that's a band who's been around for 20 years that has released great songs. You know what I mean? There's like, I don't know, they got about 100 records out, and they're good, you know what I mean? They're really good, and they're continuing to give you something different, and they haven't bought into their own nonsense and joined Guns N' Roses. You know what I'm talking about. And I think that, you can be a band like that, and that's a band who, fundamentally we're different than. Like, we want to go big. I want to play Giant Stadium, and they wanted to stay what they were, and they always stuck to it, and they never listened to anybody else. And I think the best thing about, Mike and Greg and Pete and Brian is that, they're honest guys, and you'll never, ever hear them say a bad word about another band, ever. And they're never trying to step on anybody's back to get where they were. They just were like, we're the Bouncing Souls. We drink beer. We wear Adidas.
Take anything from the Pogues?
Don't drink too much. No, yeah. The Pogues are a good band. I mean, I love the Pogues, and I still do. And I think that there's a lot of bands that in that genre that, unless you change that genre a little bit, you're kind of just trying to be the Pogues, and it doesn't work out so good. But I think that they have inspired some really cool bands, and I think when you go and the interpretations that have come from the Pogues and the kind of lineage that they've left, like if you go to a Dropkick Murphy show and you see them ever do a Pogue song, it's mind-blowing. Like, it's so intense the way that these songs translate, and you got this big like punk rock band, and then you have these Irish folk songs, and Shane MacGowan's a train wreck, and he wrote the most beautiful songs in the world. That's the thing, man. That's the one thing that Paul Westerberg has too. They write those songs, change people's lives, but then they write a bunch of weird stuff too.
All right.
He did a duet with Sinead O'Connor one time.
How about your mom? What inspiration did you take from
My
your
mom's
mother?
cool, man.
She was a gospel singer, right?
Yeah, she sang in church. She wasn't like Odetta or anything. But yeah, she sang in the church. She had a group when she was I think around here in the Red Bank. Her and her friends had a little folk group, and they used to sing. They got 2 records. I don't know how that happened, or where they were, whether they were in stores or what the real deal was. I haven't really dug too deep with her, but yeah, she's a singer. My mom played the Monkees and Jesus when I was a kid. That was it. Amazing Grace and Daydream Believer, and that made me realize that music was awesome. So that was it.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that with me.
Sure.
So a few years ago, you're playing a solo show at the church, First Unitarian Church out in Philly. There's a guy out in the back of the room, and he's just screaming, Bruce! Bruce! And, like, he had probably been, like, tailgating at an Eagles game all day.
Yeah.
He still had some, like, cheesesteak, like, dribbling down his chin and everything. But you,
That's
like,
a cheap ticket to see Bruce.
Yeah. And you stopped
$12.
dead in your tracks, and you were like, hey, man, I got my own songs.
Yeah.
And that was, like, a pretty incredible moment. And I think, especially recently, you guys have, as a band, come past that point of the constant association with that.
Well, I don't know. JBJ's been 30 years, and he can't get away from it, Guy's the best. Like, you can't take it away from him. Like, Bruce and Elvis and the Beatles, that's it, man. You can't get better than that. And I think there's a certain humility to finding out that a guy like that likes your songs, So wanting to get away from it is a purely artistic thing. It's not a oh, get away from me, I don't want. That's the best thing in the world to have, is that embracement from a guy like that. But I think it's just because I don't want to walk into a store and apply for the job and get it because 5 minutes earlier my dad went in there and gave him $50. And I don't want you to come to Giant Stadium because Bruce told you to. You know what I mean? And I love Bruce. And if you did show up, that'd be cool. But somehow it would feel like it wasn't really mine. You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that we have to earn, and not that he has to. I think that that's not something we have to shy away from, but it's something we definitely have to earn, and that's going to take time. But on the other hand, too, I don't mind. I mean, it's pretty decent. People say I remind him of them of him. Like, I'll take that. Why not?
Nice. So, if someone were to tell the story of the Gaslight Anthem history, it would seem like 4 boys playing punk music, New Brunswick basement scene, and you guys, as you kind of came out of that and matured, you discovered soul music, folk music, blues, and a wider spectrum of rock. And but you particularly had a pretty long history with Americana even before you were coming out of those basements.
I did, and that was something that I didn't know what to do with. A lot of the music that I had listened to when I was younger, I didn't really know where that fit in with punk rock. Like I was saying, there was a lot of rules put on that, and I think, bands like the Bouncing Souls and there's Against Me or Lucero or those kind of bands, they were a little bit ahead of us, and they kind of broke that ground where you could say, maybe the first was, I can't even say who the first was, I don't know, but there was a lot of bands, there was even Lifetime who did something a little different where it was a little off kilter from what you were supposed to do. There's a lot of rules for punk rock. I don't know if you guys know about that. Like, all the anarchy and stuff is very confusing because there's so many rules that go along with all the rulelessness. So that show Sons of Anarchy is pretty good, though. I watched 4 seasons in 2 weeks. I'm going to join a motorcycle gang. I'm going to clean up the clubhouse is what I'll end up doing.
How you look in that cut? In that motorcycle
Yeah, that's scary. I don't like
cut,
words like that, cut. Like, what do you got to do to get a cut? Could you be in a gang? I don't think I could.
So. No,
me neither. I'm chicken.
So you certainly write about, your own experiences, but at the same time, you become an amazing storyteller. I think within this room, there is, I could think of 10 people in this room who are carrying on the tradition of storytelling, whether it's through art, music, writing, photography. I think it's a great tradition, especially in our area. But how do you make something that's so personal into something that's so universal?
I think the misunderstood understand the best. I think the people that go through high school and college and they feel they're just the kids that nobody understands. They're the ones looking at everything because nobody's looking at them, and they have time to process that kind of thing. And loneliness is a funny companion when you're young, because that's when you're forming your ideas about the world, and when you're you're just on the outside, maybe not, and not even so much that you get picked on, but just because you don't even get noticed for that. So it's like you have a lot of time to watch the world, and you get to form an opinion, and you really learn, if you're paying attention, how people kind of react. And then once you join the workforce and you find out that there's other guys just like you that have lived, and this goes for people who were popular too. I mean, they're not. It's not this kind of like exclusive club where look at me, I got so downtrodden that now you rise above or whatever. I mean, like everybody's got that. It's common. It's that's why they call it the common man, songs of the common man, because it's everyone. Everyone understands that. From bankers to the street sweeper. They get it. I don't even think there is street sweepers anymore, but it sounded cool, didn't it?
They got a truck, I think, that does that.
That's a cred word. Cred word. There's cred words. Did you know that? Singer-songwriter cred words.
Couple of points there.
Like troubadour. Troubadour. Flannel. You know what I love? I love the word. I heard on the way down here the word troubadour in a Billy Joel song, where there's 2 versions. There's the Steve Earle version in the Talladega Nights, the last of the hardcore troubadours, and then there's Billy Joel where he says "Say Goodbye to Hollywood," that song, which no one would think of Bob Dylan and that kind of thing, but he says the word troubadour, and I thought that was funny.
All right, learning all sorts of stuff tonight.
Well, I got more.
You are a wealth. You are a wealth.
I'm a wealth of something.
So. I think that we're going to wrap it up with this one, but everybody said the world was going to end in 2012, right? But I kind of hope it doesn't because there's so many great albums coming out this summer. You guys have an album coming out, Tim Barry,
Yep.
Hot Water Music, The Souls, Neil Young. I heard talk of a new Black Star album, possibly. What albums are you most excited about right
Well, you
now?
just said them. You took them all. You took everything.
Sorry.
It's greedy. It's a greedy list. No, I think that's a good list. I don't think that, I mean, the Mayans didn't invent the internet, so why do they know everything? Seriously, there was you couldn't even get ESPN in Mayan town. How are you going to watch the sports ball?
No idea. Yankees box scores, huh?
No, you can't even no, they don't have it. So you couldn't see them, when they have like a good game or a bad game. Mayans don't know anything. Calendar. Who reads a calendar? I don't have a calendar. I have an iPhone. Stupid Mayans. No, dude, if the world blows up, man, the Mayans are not going to be kind to me. That's cool. I got stuff to do. The world can't end. I got stuff to do. Mayans. I learned about that in like 4th grade. In the history book is a big one. Blue book. They said the Mayans, and the Mayan calendar just stops. Maybe because they died of like something like penicillin would have cured. Maybe you should have worried about that instead of doing a calendar. One Mayan was like, "Yo, the world's gonna end in 2012." Other dude's like, "I don't care, man. I got pneumonia. I got bit by a mosquito. I need some penicillin." They didn't even have shoes. Get out of here. Come on, Mayans.
All right. Is there any chance that you want to play?
I'm on a space oddity.
Are you done?
2012.
Are you done insulting civilizations now? Maybe you could play a
I
few
don't
songs
care.
for us.
I can't. I'm gonna go think about I'm gonna write a civilization song between the. Yes, I'm not insulting anybody nobody's Mayan anymore. Come on, people are too sensitive too. People are real sensitive nowadays. I want to talk about that for a little minute, just a hot minute more.
Go ahead.
I'm not going anywhere. Well, you got to ask some questions about it.
Well,
It
it sounds like
thinking.
it sounds
You're
like
the
it's really,
writer.
it sounds like it's hitting a nerve there.
I got things I gotta do. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure everyone else in this room does too. I don't know. I don't like hype, and I don't like when I don't like this terroristic news thing, like this. Something you do every day is gonna kill you and your kids, and more at 8 p.m. And it's like 10 in the morning, and you're like, I'm gonna.
You gotta wait
what
all
if
day
I
to
die
find
between
out.
now and 8 p.m. if it's gonna kill me? And then everything is so fear motivated, and this, the world's gonna end. Oh, okay, all right, okay. I'm still gonna play my Xbox tonight. All right, because somebody said so. But nobody wants to believe in anything normal, like treating people good, and voting for the guy who's not gonna lie to you. Nobody wants to focus on that. It's a good way to sham an election. Keep your eyes off the election. The Mayan calendar says we're gonna die. Oh man, check me out. I'm sneaking in the White House. You know what I mean? Keep your eyes on the prize. Who are you gonna vote for? Okay.
Got some.
Oh, that's fair. That wasn't like Ron Paul. That's 2 for Ron Paul.
Wow. Big Ron Paul in this room.
2 for Mike Ness, 2 for Ron Paul. Obama's got 1. It's getting hot.
It's not looking good.
Who? Obama, 2 for Obama. Who's the other guy that wants to? There's one guy that they told me on Punk News that just blew up. That wants to take away porno.
Rick Santorum.
What's up with him?
From what I understand, he represents the. From what I understand, he's telling Fox News what they should be covering at this point.
Really? Yeah. I'm not saying anything because I don't know.
And that was another issue on Punk News recently. It was a good point. I believe brought up by Anti-Flag. But we do have a few questions from
Anti-Flag. Those guys are very concerned.
Okay.
You know what's funny? I think that's funny about Anti-Flag. Right before you get to the questions, those guys are some of the funniest dudes ever. Yet they are very serious about politics. And that is a funny group of guys. And I think that that's amazing because when I first, when I listened to the records, I was like, boring. But even though it's so important, it's just because I'm not smart enough to follow what they're saying. They use big words I don't understand. But then I met them and hung out with them, and those are the funniest dudes in the world. I had a good time with them because I don't like to talk about politics. I kind of just I mean, I like to talk about it when it's funny, but I just kind of, okay, hope that guy wins. As long as he's not trying to kill anybody, that's the guy I like. I don't vote either way. I just try to go for the guy that's gonna kill the least people. You know what I mean? I think that's a safe bet.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid
I mean, maybe health
philosophy.
insurance too.
That's nice.
Could use, people could use that. Canadians got that figured out. Maybe we should vote for the Canadian guy.
Bring him in.
What do you think, Canadian president? That's weird.
That is weird.
Do you have to be born here to be the
I
president?
think you do have to be born here. I think there was an issue about a birth certificate. I heard something about that this year.
He was born in Hawaii.
That's in the U.S.
Surfing bud.
What's
good.
the problem?
He's fine. Nothing.
What's
no
the problem?
problem.
Hell of a body surfer.
The people give him a lot of flack, though. They give Obama a ton of flack, and I pay attention a lot more than I say I do. But you would too if you were surrounded by people in opposing views. If that's what the deal is, it's hard. It's hard to. You have two completely separate viewpoints, and one guy's trying to do one thing, and one guy's trying to do the other thing, and you're not gonna get anything done. It's like when two cars ram each other. It just doesn't go anywhere. So I don't know, but it doesn't matter because we're not gonna get to the election.
Because
Mayan calendar, it's gonna die. When did they say that's gonna happen?
I don't know.
December?
So right after the election.
I don't care. I'll have my motorcycle license by then. I'll get a few months riding in. Surfing season to be over. Don't care. December. Record to be out. Who cares?
All right.
Yeah.
So do you care to talk to the audience a little bit?
Sure.
Some nice folks here have
I can't see them.
submitted a few questions. So we have Alyssa from Asbury Park. Where's Alyssa? Alyssa, go ahead and stand up. Do we have a microphone for Alyssa? Give you this one. Here you go.
There's a lot of chatter on that side of the room. A lot of chatter. I just want everybody to hear you. Speak clearly into the microphone. Might be your last question publicly.
Oh, God.
Might die this year. I don't know.
Probably.
All of us, I mean.
Yeah. Has there been a big difference in the creative process between when you guys were with an independent label and now in a major?
No, truthfully, which I thought that there was going to be. I thought that there was going to be a lot of submitting of things and a lot of asking, can we do this? And surprisingly, there was none. And we got to go and make our record and finish it without anyone bothering us at all. Matter of fact, they came in at the end and heard. So if we would have messed it up, whoa, that would have been bad news. But they came in at the end and they trusted us enough to do it. And I think that we did think that, because you hear stories, you hear horror stories. But I think in all the horror stories with bands and major labels, you have to look at the band and the label. And you have to every relationship is unique. And, I didn't get in this to kick and scratch and complain. I went and said, I told you I want to play Giant Stadium. I want to be on a major label. I did tons of records with the indie label, And those guys, Joe and Bill, were the best guys in the world. But we gave them what we were supposed to give them, and we agreed to them, hey, we'll give you this amount of records. And when that record is done, we're going to try something else. Because why not, man? If I can be the kid that's on the cover of Time magazine, I'll take it. And I'll buy you a drink while I'm at it. So, all right.
All right. He's buying drinks. How about Michael from Montclair? Where's Michael?
Did you purposely pick people in the front row? Oh. That's a good save.
All right.
You did. Hey.
Hey, back when you guys used to open, what's the one band that you opened for that you learned the most from about the music business? What's the one band?
Oh, that was our first. Probably our first tour. We went. Against Me took us out, and they taught us a lot about the workings of music. That was our big, kind of educational lesson. I mean, that was the first time that we were experiencing managers and booking agents and music as a business in addition to as an art, which those two things live in separate rooms. And when you're in one room, you're not in the other room. And with that tour specifically, we were doing our Senor and the Queen EP, and their tour manager, Jordan, was our label guy. So they really gave us the biggest education that a young band could ask for. I think that they really taught us, this is what everyone's going to be trying to get you, but remember, no one would be your friend if you never put on a guitar. Just remember that. And I don't think we've ever forgotten that. But that was an incredible lesson, I think, on that whole 6 weeks or whatever it was. And that was the biggest one so far. Excellent. I feel like somebody should clap for you.
All right. And Pat from Cranford. Where's Pat? Also in the front row? Perfect.
How you doing, Brian?
Hey, man. I can't see. Oh, there you are.
Just got a quick question.
Sure.
You toured all over the place. How would you compare touring in like Europe and the States, like pros and cons? What do you like? What do you don't like?
Europe, I love the fact that you can go to a festival and no one can know who you are, and they'll legitimately watch you and make a decision, and they'll really, they'll get into you even if they don't know you at all. Con, food, not so great. But it's not great because when you travel a lot, your system goes through all kinds of changes when you move to a different country and you're eating different food every day from all different places. You don't have time to adapt, and you just kind of get this sluggish malaise that happens to you. So that's kind of the downside. With the States, though, I mean, it's home, and that's the thing about it. Nowhere else will ever compare because it's just that's where you want to. Bands. I remember the Kings of Leon. People tell this story a lot, that they were huge overseas and in England particularly. That like to the point where they were like famous, and then they were about like not that big here. During the time that I'm speaking of, and they all they wanted was to be big in America because that's where they're from, and that's a lot of bands' cases. So I think that you can never really not love playing in your own country, and I'm sure people feel that way all over the world. But that's kind of the main differences, is that people really do absorb more music there. They're more open to it, to new things. But here, that's just home. You gotta. I don't know. I love this place. It's a good place.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Who's gonna? Are you gonna ask anybody in the back?
I think no. That's all the questions we had.
You get three.
I think you have answered all the questions about
Oh my
politics,
goodness.
civilization, and music tonight. So
Yeah.
I think we're all set. Is
All
there any chance you play a few songs for us?
Yeah.
All right.
I gotta go get my guitar.
All right. Brian's going to go get his guitar. Ladies
You
and
guys-
gentlemen, Brian Fallon. He's a handful of the Gaslight Anthem. Thank you so much, Brian.